We've got our Mario Diaz also on the scene right there, giving us more insight into this crane collapse. I know we're waiting for the mayor as well. So Mario, just so you know, if we cut away from you, it's because we're going to go to the mayor's press conference. But take it away.
Suki, I completely understand, Suki. Let me show you the scene right now here on Broadway. I'm going to start making my way over here through Worth. Usually this is a scene that obviously is very, very occupied. But as soon as you cross Broadway, you walk right over here into Worth, you're going to see this entire scene here along this street completely shut down by the FDNY as well as the NYPD, OEM, Department of Buildings. They are all investigating this crane accident. We're going to just take a walk. Mike Roman, I'm going to let you take the scene here. And I'm going to walk right beside you, Mike. You can see how this entire block of Lower Manhattan and then the one to the west of it is completely shut down. This is what the scene was like beginning shortly after 8:30 as they investigate this crane accident. You see this type of a response because you don't know exactly what you're going to see when you get here. This is why you have so many members of the FDNY, first responders coming down, because as Corey and Suki were mentioning earlier, you have a crane go down in the city of New York on a busy block. You'd expect there to be massive injuries as well as some fatalities. Right now, that is not the case. We do have one fatality, a male in his 30s, approximately 38 years of age, and 3 injuries. But when you come down to this scene and you see how devastated the entire block is, which you've already seen part of it, but when you first see it, it is something like out of a motion picture. Remember those movies like where you had, and for lack of a better term, like a Godzilla effect where they just tear down the bricks of the building and they just fall? You'll see how it's completely scattered. Right now, again, we are on Worth Street heading towards the location, and you can see how much of this block, Suki and Corey, has been shut down, and traffic is snarled throughout the entire vicinity here of this neighborhood. Normally quiet, usually filled with cars in the morning, some pedestrians, but this is completely shut down as we make our way in here.
Hey Mario,
guys,
one thing I'm curious about, Mario, because it seems like the rescue aspect of this is maybe coming to an end. We know the buildings were clear, those buildings that had the facades ripped down, the bricks ripped down, so those are clear. That's good news. But it seems like even outside, that rescue aspect of this is over. Is that the case?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And when I got down here shortly after 9 a.m., you saw that as well. The reason being is that we're going to be held back here by the members of the NYPD. You could tell that no one is really running around anymore. If you have a scene like this, you're going to see people, they're going to be rushing around the scene if there are still some sort of victims that may be trapped, people that need to be tended to. When I showed up here, again, about an hour ago, you didn't have that type of scene. Mike, if you can, point right over here. Again, this is the location here on Worth, and you can come right over. You can see the crane right here, completely on the ground. We cannot move any more forward, Mike. And then if you look up to the top of the rooftop to the right, you can see how that crane just came down and impacted the top of the roof.
Newsroom. Go ahead, Mario.
All fair questions, and Suki, keep in mind, we got to find out who contracted this crane as well. We do know that the Manhattan Borough's office, the president of the Manhattan Borough's office, is right down that block. You have the New York Law School right there on the corner. It'll be interesting to see if this was contracted through the public, meaning the city, or if it was contracted through a private entity. That will be intriguing to find out as well. But when you have a crane accident like this, there are so many questions, and that deep dive that you're talking about, well, that's what investigators are going to be doing, not only on the accident itself, but as Kirsten Cole was talking earlier about the history of the train and the actions, of the crane and the actions of the crane as it was obviously in the moments before it tipped over there. Keep in mind, we are in a construction boom here in New York City for several years now. We have seen this. This said, in talking to an expert that I was on the phone with in the last hour, Stephen Murphy, a construction attorney, he said, Mario, we are one of the safest cities in the nation when it comes to construction accidents. We're in the top 5 to 10%.
Schools may be shut down, that area. Businesses might be closing as well. So it is changing as we speak right now.
No doubt about that, Suki. This is an area that's going to be impacted into next week, as you heard the mayor just say. And obviously the concern here is the infrastructure of the pipes, of the buildings, of everything that has been impacted by that crane here collapsing earlier this morning. Another important note that you heard from the mayor today, I'm going to pan over to my right here, and you can see that the mayor said all of the cranes within the city are standing down, meaning that there will be no construction today. They are going to make sure that all the cranes are working accordingly to ensure that what we have seen here at this location on Worth Street doesn't play out once again. And you heard the mayor say they had inspectors here yesterday afternoon to examine the job that they were trying to finish up. It'll be intriguing once again to see how this will all play out. You just mentioned a second ago, Suki, that the main question here is why? Why did this happen? Unfortunately, in these type of situations, that answer won't present itself for quite some time.
All right, Mario Diaz reporting live from the scene. Of course,
we start with Mario Diaz live in Tribeca tonight with the very latest. Hi, Mario.
Tempton and John, this is a long day here in Lower Manhattan that will not be forgotten for quite some time. And the reason, let me show it to you. It is that crane that sits parked along several blocks of Worth Street. It's almost as if a giant erector set crane was just dropped into the middle of Lower Manhattan. It is a surreal scene to view up close, but at the same time, it is also one of tragedy. And in the minds of many, this is an accident that could have been much worse.
Moving fast now. He's dropping it really quick now.
Manhattan, and we can see that crane just parked once again right in the middle of Worth Street. It is expected to be there for a few days here. There's no doubt that this is a section of the city that will be shut down until the early part of next week. In terms of traffic, they're still allowing pedestrian traffic to go around the surrounding blocks. As for the investigation itself, it could take a matter of weeks, but it more likely than not will last for several months. Reporting from Lower Manhattan, Mario Diaz, Pix 11 News.
Just unbelievable video of that crane coming down. Mario, thank you. To begin our team coverage, we're going to go to Pix 11's Mario Diaz tonight, live at the scene with more details about today's accident. Mario.
Tempton and Johnny talk about cranes. Let's go to the one that's at the center of today's accident. There it is right there. That is a remarkable sight to see anywhere. But to consider that that site is right now being played out on a city street in Lower Manhattan is truly incredible, because that is what took place in just a matter of seconds. When that crane that we showed you at the top of the show collapsed today, it flipped that crane, again, more than 300 tons, completely over into the center of the street. And as we pan over here to the left, you can see a minivan that's trapped right underneath, in the middle there, underneath the red railing. And this red crane stretches all the way down for 2 city blocks. It is a complete mess that they are cleaning up down here, no doubt about it. But this is an incident that could have been a much greater tragedy. You can tell there are investigators examining the crane up and down this block. You have members of the FDNY, the NYPD helping secure this zone, as well as Con Ed to ensure that there are no gas leaks. The structure around this vicinity, the infrastructure, is obviously something that many are skeptical about, because when you have a crane of this magnitude drop so suddenly with that amount of force and that impact, you wonder exactly what it could do to some of the pipings around here, which is why you had Con Ed and the FDNY doing sweeps throughout the course of the day. As for the investigation, we'll just look at this scene. This is something that's going to take quite some time, matter of weeks, if not several months. Reporting live from Lower Manhattan, Mario Diaz, Pix 11 News.
All right, Mario. Well, despite how bad it looks,